The average household in this country is carrying over $11,000 in credit card debt. Not because people are bad with money, because they're drowning in decisions. Decisions about what to buy, what to upgrade, what to keep up with. Here's what nobody tells you. The people who actually reach financial freedom didn't get there with a more complicated system. They got there by removing things. Fewer subscriptions, fewer financial products, fewer reasons to spend. In the next 20 minutes, I'm giving you 10 rules. Not 10 tips you'll forget by tomorrow. 10 rules simple enough to apply today and powerful enough to change where you are in 5 years. Let's get into it. If you're new here, this channel is about building wealth without complicating your life. These rules build on each other. Rule 1 makes Rule 4 easier. Rule 4 makes Rule 8 automatic. So even if you think you've already mastered spend less than you earn, stick around. The order matters. Rule 1, know your one number. Every minimalist financial system starts with a single number. What does it actually cost you to live for 1 month? Not your income, not your budget goal. The real, no lying to yourself number. Most people can't answer this in under 30 seconds. That's the problem. You can't build freedom on top of a number you don't know. Here's the minimalist version of a budget. Pull your last 2 months of bank statements. Add up every expense. Divide by 2. That's your number. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need 12 categories. You need one number you can say out loud. Once you have it, everything gets simpler. You instantly know your break-even point. You know how many months of expenses sit in your savings account. You know exactly how much extra income actually means freedom versus how much just disappears. Financial freedom isn't a feeling. It's math. And the math starts with this one number. Rule 2. The 50/30/20 split, simplified. Once you know your number, you need a way to direct your money without micromanaging it every day. This is where most people overcomplicate things with 20 different budget categories. Use this instead. 50% of your income goes to needs, rent, food, utilities, minimum debt payments. 30% goes to wants, the things that make life enjoyable. 20% goes to savings and extra debt payoff. This is a framework consumer protection agencies actually recommend, and the reason it works is because it's flexible without being vague. The minimalist twist: you don't need an app that tracks every latte. You need 3 buckets and 1 rule. When the wants bucket is empty, you stop spending in that category until next month. No guilt, no negotiating with yourself. The system makes the decision so you don't have to. This is the difference between minimalist finance and restrictive finance. You're not telling yourself no forever. You're giving yourself permission inside clear limits. And clear limits are what actually reduce financial stress. Rule 3. Cancel anything you forgot you were paying for. Here's an experiment. Right now, pause this video and pull up your bank statement. Count every recurring subscription. I'll bet you find at least one you forgot existed. Subscriptions are the single biggest leak in the average person's budget because they're designed to be invisible. $5 here, $12 there. None of it feels like spending, so none of it feels worth cutting. But invisible spending is still spending. The minimalist rule is simple. Every subscription has to earn its place every 6 months. Set a recurring reminder. When it goes off, look at the list and ask one question for each one. Did I get real value from this in the last month? If you're hesitating, that's your answer. This isn't about depriving yourself of streaming or a gym membership you actually use. It's about killing the stuff that's just there. People routinely find an extra $100 to $200 a month doing this exercise, money that was leaving their account without ever entering their attention. Rule 4. One emergency fund, no exceptions. Minimalism means fewer accounts, not more. And yet so many people have a car fund, a vacation fund, a just-in-case fund, a Christmas fund, 5 half-funded buckets instead of one strong one. Here's the rule. Build one emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses, the number you calculated in Rule 1. That's it. One account, one purpose, covering you if income stops or something breaks. Why does this matter for freedom specifically? Because debt is the opposite of freedom, and most consumer debt is born in an emergency. A car repair, a medical bill, a month without work, without a buffer. These moments push people onto credit cards at high interest rates, and that debt then competes with every future financial goal you have. One fund, fully funded before anything else gets extra attention. Once it's done, you genuinely stop thinking about emergencies because you've already solved for them. That mental quiet is worth more than people expect. Rule 5, automate the boring decisions. The most minimalist financial habit isn't a spreadsheet, it's automation. Every decision you remove from your daily life is a decision you can't get wrong, forget, or talk yourself out of. Set this up once. Your paycheck lands, and before you ever see it, a fixed amount moves to savings, a fixed amount moves to investments, and bills pay themselves on autopilot. What's left in checking is what you're actually allowed to spend. This flips the default. Most people save whatever's left at the end of the month, which is usually nothing because spending naturally expands to fill the space available. Automating savings first means the saving happens whether or not you feel disciplined that week. You're not relying on willpower. You're relying on a system that doesn't get tired. This single change, paying yourself first, automatically, is one of the most repeated pieces of advice from people who've actually built wealth. And it's repeated because it quietly does the hardest part of the work for you. Rule 6, buy it once. Minimalism in your home and minimalism in your wallet are the same instinct. Stop replacing things constantly. The real cost of an item isn't the price tag. It's the price divided by how long it lasts and how often you use it. A $70 pair of boots that lasts 8 years and gets worn weekly is cheaper than a $20 pair you replace 3 times in that same span. Buying cheap, disposable versions of things you use constantly is one of the sneakiest ways money disappears. This isn't permission to overspend on everything. It's the opposite. It means being deliberate about the handful of things you use every single day: shoes, your mattress, kitchen tools, a work bag, and being ruthlessly cheap about everything you use rarely. Spend where frequency justifies it. Cut everywhere else. People who reach financial freedom aren't the ones who buy the most expensive version of everything. They're the ones who buy the right version once and then stop thinking about it. This also saves something money can't buy back: attention. Every cheap, disposable purchase comes with a hidden tax. You have to think about replacing it again later. Buy once, and that mental slot in your brain just closes. That's minimalism doing its actual job. Not just saving money, but freeing up the headspace that money decisions were quietly occupying. Rule 7, a 24-hour rule for anything non-essential. Impulse spending isn't a willpower problem. It's a speed problem. Most unnecessary purchases happen in the gap between seeing something and thinking about it, a gap that's gotten shorter and shorter thanks to one-click checkouts. The rule is simple. Anything that isn't food, medicine, or something you came specifically to buy gets a 24-hour pause. Add it to a cart, close the tab, walk away. If you still want it tomorrow, buy it without guilt. This single rule does 2 things at once. First, it kills almost all impulse spending because most of it doesn't survive contact with a full night's sleep. Second, for the things that do survive, you now buy them with total confidence because you've already proven to yourself you actually want them. Minimalism isn't about never buying anything. It's about making sure every purchase was actually chosen, not just triggered. Rule 8, increase your income. Don't just shrink your spending. Here's something the minimalist money conversation sometimes misses. You cannot cut your way to wealth. There is a floor to how little you can spend. There is no ceiling to how much you can earn. This rule isn't about hustle culture or working 90-hour weeks. It's about treating your income as something you actively manage, the same way you manage expenses. That might mean asking for a raise with actual data on your performance. It might mean building one skill that makes you more valuable at your current job. It might mean a small side project that uses skills you already have. The minimalist version of this rule: pick one income lever, not 5. Most people who try to build multiple income streams spread themselves so thin none of them grow. Pick one. Push it for a year, then decide whether to keep pushing or switch. Cutting expenses gets you to stable. Growing income is what gets you to free. Rule 9, invest before you optimize. This is the rule most people get backwards. They wait until their finances feel figured out before they start investing. Perfect budget, zero debt, fully optimized everything. And that day never comes. The minimalist approach. As soon as your emergency fund exists, start investing something, even if it's small, even if your system isn't perfect yet. Time in the market matters more than the size of any single contribution because of how compounding works. Money earning returns, and then those returns earning their own returns year after year. You don't need to pick individual stocks. You don't need 15 different funds. A simple, low-cost, broadly diversified investment approach, contributed to consistently, beats almost every smarter strategy people spend years researching instead of starting. The goal isn't to find the perfect investment. It's to remove the gap between I have extra money and that money is working for me. Every month you wait for the perfect setup is a month of compounding you don't get back. And that's the only resource in this entire video you genuinely can earn more of. Rule 10. Define what enough actually means. This is the rule that makes all the other 9 actually matter, because without it, there's no finish line, just an endless upgrade cycle. Bigger house, newer car, the next thing. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's the single biggest reason people earn more every year and feel no freer. Minimalist financial freedom requires you to actually answer the question, what number and what lifestyle would feel like enough? Not infinite, not more than that guy. A real number for a real life you actually want. Once you define enough, every financial decision gets dramatically simpler. You're not comparing yourself to anyone. You're just asking, does this purchase, this job, this decision move me toward my number or away from it? People with the most stuff are rarely the most free. The free ones are the ones who stop playing a game with no end and build a life that already feels like winning. Let's run through all 10 fast. 1. Know your real monthly number. 2. Use the 50/30/20 split. 3. Cancel anything you forgot you're paying for. 4. One strong emergency fund, no exceptions. 5. Automate your savings before you ever see the money. 6. Buy the things you use daily once and well. 7. A 24-hour pause on anything non-essential. 8. Grow your income with focus, not your spending. 9. Start investing before everything feels perfect. 10. Define what enough actually looks like for you. None of these require a finance degree. None of them require giving up your life. They require fewer decisions, fewer accounts, fewer leaks, and a lot more clarity. If even 3 of these are new to you, that's 3 changes that compound over years, not days. Pick one to start today, not all 10, just one. If this helped, hit subscribe. I break down one real financial principle like this every week, no fluff. And let me know in the comments, which of these 10 are you starting with? I read every one. See you in the next video.